Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to the video. This time is SH Figuarts Avengers Endgame Captain America. So let's get started. If you have any previous Captain America, this one is probably going to be the best looking one with the best articulation to give you the need that fills the void for your Captain America love right now. But it's funny because with this Captain America, we have the best of articulation with the Infinity War body, and we have the best look of that of the Age of Ultron / Civil War body. And it's really cool to kind of see that come together. And it's one of the things I'm really enjoying about this figure. So real quick, as a closer look, one of the things about this cap is that I love the look of the colors. I love the scales. It's issued on the shoulder pads and the chest area, but not the back. You have the straps here. But the more I play with this, the more I'm like, it's the thing that you're already familiar with, what you know, and you're kind of just getting the best blend of it, which is really dope. So with this great example of cap, I'm going to go over it with other caps. But first off, I'm going to go over the articulation. Now, Cap can look up, has a really good look for looking up. He can look down, he can tilt for emotion. And one thing I do love about this Cap is that his collar did not get in the way. So it's one of the things I'm really, really enjoying right now. One thing, though, is that the neck peg actually has the back piece here, where you can see the hair in the back of his helmet. So it's kind of just there for that. So just keep that in mind. And the look of this face sculpt is actually really nice because it gives you the best look of Evans so far for SHF with the helmet. There's no unmasked head, so that's a little bit of a bummer. But we're pretty sure they're going to do a man nipple or a Flashback Studios or any other customizer so you can get your hands on those. Now, as far as the rest for articulation goes, Cap kind of does the Infinity War thing. So you have these butterfly joints that allow it to come out, right? So if you're not flexing on them, you push them back in, they look really good. Then you can rotate the arms going out. The arms are double jointed, and they have a simulated bicep swivel. So you can actually rotate it here as well. So Cap can definitely do this. So if you wanted to raise the roof or purr like a kitten, he can. It's definitely one of those easier things. Now you have pegs like the SHF constantly. You can rotate it all the way around 360 degrees with no issues. Now as far as the backwards ab crunch, Cap can hula hoop very, very well. So hula hooping is probably going to be Cap's thing. He is going to be really good at it. Now as far as the forward crunch though, it's not so much the same. Goes forward, but not as much as you would like, right? Then we use the drop down leg method. So here to get extra range on the legs. This also allows for extra movement going forward with Cap. So if you want to kick your opponent in the sky or a somersault kick like Guile, not really an issue here, right? But the best thing about this combination of articulation for Cap is that it gives him the best posing yet, especially now that he has shield and shield hands. The one thing I do think, though, is that Cap's hands are a little small. So I am going to point that out. Cap's hands are definitely a little small. Now, one of the things, though, before I get into the rest of the legs, is that posing with Cap has actually gotten really good, really easy. So as you can see here, Cap does not have America's ass. But it does block the articulation from going backwards with the legs. So keep that in mind. But it does keep him looking really good going forward. So as you can see here, Cap is very expressive. Now, even with stuff like kicks, right? Let's say you want to do a high jump kick or a standing kick. You can actually rotate the waist very well to manipulate a kick to the side. And it's kind of one of those things I always do because it lets you know that not only is the figure balanced, it can hold a pose. So the legs are double jointed. They can rotate in and rotate out. There is more than generous ankle pivot, as you can see here. And there's even toe pivot. You even notice here that they changed the peg here to a light brown. Why they did that, don't really know. I don't think I even really care either, but it doesn't really bother me. But Cap poses very, very well and very easy, at least in my opinion. And this is one of those things where if you've been buying Cap so far, you can swap around parts. It'll give you the best of all the worlds here because you can see here, kind of just really easy. Just doing walking, looking like a creeper. It's working out just fine. But like for instance, right? Proportion-wise, I like this Cap a lot better simply because it's closer to the Infinity War body in terms of proportions. Because here on this previous Cap, one thing I've always hated was the wobbly waist and the fact that his mid-torso was so much more like it just kind of shapes down like he's wearing a waist trainer, and I hated those. Although it was a good Cap, when you compare it to this body, even though it's smaller and the head is a little smaller, it just has a better look overall. And I like that aesthetic. But anyway, let's get into these Cap things, right? Let's make Cap look really cool, and let's talk about Cap's accessories. Cap comes with a shield. He finally got it back from Tony, right? So you can actually plug these two pieces in to make Cap's shield look like it's in storage. Easy to plug in, easy to plug out. They come not like this in package. They actually come off. So I plug them in so that way you can see how good they look. Makes Cap's shield looks pretty decent. I would like this to be a thing where it's like just kind of not the plug-in interchangeable parts, but maybe I'm asking for too much, right? Next up, we get two relaxed hands. Actually, sorry, I grabbed the wrong relaxed hand. We get two relaxed hands. Pretty simple for Cap, you know, when you want to do walk-in poses and things like that. We get two shield throwing hands for both left and right, and these ones are going to have the peg for this invisible piece right here. So if Cap is throwing a shield, let's say he is, right? Let me match this peg piece up. Ooh, I am tripping. So let me match this peg piece up. One is going to peg into the hand, like so. And the other one's going to peg into a piece of the shield. So it's going to peg into the smaller part of the shield. So let's say Cap is grabbing or throwing the shield. As you can see here, the hand kind of holds it together on the inside and out. So when throwing or catching it, this is what you're going to do for the shield. So please keep that in mind. There's also this piece. This piece for the shield is for when it's on storage on his back. Cap doesn't normally store it on his back anymore because in the movie he's too busy fighting with it. So again, plugs into these smaller parts. And then on the back of Cap, there's going to be this tiny piece right here in the center. That small shape right here. You're going to remove that. You're going to plug this into the back for Cap's shield. I'm not going to take it out right now because I am in fear of losing a tiny part. I do not wish to do that. Nope, that would be bad. Very, very bad. So let's not do that. Then as usual, you get Cap's shield holding hands, which plug in again to the smaller parts and peg in to Cap's hand as usual. You get two of those as well. You're also going to get the piece that kind of plugs into the arm by wrapping around as if he was strapping on the shield. Actually, I have that upside down. So voila. We have a lot of things to cover with Cap. One more thing I do want to cover, and this is not included with the Captain America, so I want to keep this in mind, is that if you use Infinity War's Cap hand, his left or his right, if you have the SH Figuarts Mjolnir, or Thor's hammer, I should say, because I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, it fits into the Infinity War's hand without any issue. Keep that in mind. That is for the SHF one. Now, if you also happen to have Figma Thor, not the SHF Age of Ultron Thor, guess what? Also fits. So I do want to keep that in mind for you guys who are wondering about hammers. So yeah. Cap also comes with a masthead. This one looks over slightly to the right hand side. So keep that in mind when you're getting your swagger on. Or you want to look at those ladies, Chris Evans style. One more thing I want to throw on, because I want to test it out. I wish to see if the Civil War head can peg on to this. And let's just say I am having trouble with it, but it's not impossible. Nope, it actually plugs on. So if you have Civil War Cap, guess what? You can plug your unmasked head onto this guy. And even though the paints may not match the neck, it still looks pretty good in photos. That's the thing I feared. So one of the things I always worry about is plugging it in. What's going to happen is that the peg is going to get caught in the neck. And as usual, it does. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this on for the head on for the rest of the review. So you'll know height-wise where he stands, because it's the same as the masthead. You'll know height-wise where he stands until afterwards when I can remove it. And we're going to do some height comparisons for Unmasked Steve, right? So now let's join in on the fun part with the size comparisons. Let's get him up in a standing straight pose. And now let's compare him to his other counterparts. So here we have the Civil War one, which at this point, this Cap is falling apart for me because I have probably had him on display for far too long. Here he is next to his Infinity War counterpart, and this one has a custom head and arms. This one definitely has the better shoulder pivot as well. And as you can see, this one probably has the biggest body whatsoever. And then last but not least, his first one, which is the Age of Ultron body. And this one actually holds better a little bit more for me because I've played with you a lot less. So as you can see, the four of them together, I mean, it's weird though because like the Endgame one kind of fits even smaller than this guy. He probably has the biggest proportions. But as you can see, he uses this body. So going forward, Cap gets the tallest with Infinity War. Smallest would have to actually be this one. So as you can see here. So now let's take these guys away. And now let's compare him to other various SHF and other different lines. Let's go with the SHF stuff first. Here he is next to Black Panther. I think these guys will still match up pretty well, but Panther will be significantly just a tad bit taller. Here he is next to Bucky. You know, get your Bucky on. Next up, Endgame Ronan. Because now I'm just going completely out of order and nothing really matters anymore. And Ronan is significantly smaller than the rest of these guys, but works a little bit better than Cap with the rest. Next up, we're going to go with SH Figuarts Iron Man Mark 50. Let's do that. Let's go with the Mark 50, right? Then we're going to go with Carol, SHF-wise. Next up, War Machine and Thor. I think these two actually work significantly well together height-wise. Tallest Chris is still taller than the other Chris. Next up is going to be Ant-Man and Falcon. Ooh, don't fall, Hulk. And Hulk fell. But we'll get to him in a second. This one actually works out. Sam is actually a little bit beefier and bigger than Cap, but it still works out. Next up, we have Hulk and Thanos. Don't mind Hulk's purple pants. He's been trying stuff on. Then we also have Black Widow. Yeah. I think Cap is actually that good middle ground. And wow, that was a big thud. Sorry about that. Cap is that good middle ground of height. Not the tallest, but also not significantly the smallest like Ronan. Now for other lines, when we're comparing, here he is next to the Revoltech Iron Man. I like that. That's actually a good combination. Storm Collectible Scorpion. The Hasbro Lightning Collection White Ranger. Wow, it's actually a really good combination with all of them. Even with Scorpion, who is significantly taller and beefier, but for some reason it just feels right. Here he is next to a Marvel Legends Spider-Man. A Articulated Icons Ninja. 1000 Toy Synthetic Human. And an SH Figuarts Kamen Rider Cougar. So yeah, the party's all here, right? I think we've covered just about everything. And last but not least, against his Mezco counterpart of Steve Rogers. Put this guy in the back because I already know that he's taller. As you can see here, much beefier as well. But again, even with him in the background, he gets proved to be a little taller. But just in case you are wondering, if you put them side by side, voila. So yeah, I like it. It's nice to have a good blend of Steve to go with just about pretty much every line. And it works out pretty well for you. You get the best of articulation and look with this one, as well as the mincing of parts. So if you've been with the line for a while, this is definitely going to be a good time for you as you can mix and match parts. To get this Steve head off, if your peg is in the way, I do recommend you heat it up with either some hot water or a blow dryer till the head is soft and you can pop the peg out. Keep that in mind. As always, guys, I hope you found it informative. And as always, I hope you do good, be good, drink your water, guys. Later.